1. Pochettino rages after Gold Cup final refereeing. Controversial handball call. 2. U.S. soccer team silver lining. Hope emerges for World Cup despite regional loss. 1. Pochettino rages after Gold Cup final refereeing. Controversial handball call. The U.S. men's national team's heart-wrenching defeat to Mexico in the Gold Cup final wasn't just about the scoreline. It was a storm of controversial calls that left coach Mauricio Pochettino fuming. But here's where it gets controversial. A handball that should have rattled Mexico's defense vanished into thin air, and an offside goal stood after a video review. These moments, Pochettino argued, tilted the game, and possibly the trophy, away from his team. And this is the part most people miss. The emotional toll of such decisions on a squad already navigating a rocky path to the final. The 2-1 loss to Mexico unfolded under a cloud of frustration. The U.S. had surged ahead early with a header from Chris Richards in the 4th minute, only to see their lead erased by Edson Alvarez's 77th minute winner. That goal, initially flagged for offside, survived a review. But the real firestorm erupted 10 minutes earlier, when Mexican defender Jorge Sánchez appeared to block a shot with his hand inside the penalty area. TV replays showed Sanchez's arm making contact as he tumbled in the box, yet no penalty was awarded. Pochettino, visibly seething, argued that if the same incident occurred in the U.S. box, Mexico would have been handed a clear penalty. If that happened in the opposite half, for sure it's a penalty, he insisted during his post-match press conference. The coach emphasized the inconsistency. Sanchez's hand wasn't on the ground when the ball hit it, and the lack of intent didn't excuse the foul in his eyes. It's not about crying or complaining, Pochettino said. It's about the truth. I think it's clear, and it's a shame to see it ignored. The U.S. team arrived at the tournament with a patchwork lineup, missing stars like Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, and Anthony Robinson. Yet they clawed their way to the final with 3 group stage wins, a penalty kick triumph over Costa Rica, and a semi-final victory against Guatemala. Pochettino framed this run as a glimpse of progress, even as he grappled with the sting of a missed opportunity. This tournament showed us the way forward, he said. We're going to keep growing, and I believe we'll be competitive when the World Cup comes to our home soil next year. But the coach's optimism was shadowed by what-ifs. Mexico's Raul Jimenez had cancelled out Richards' opener in the 27th minute. An Alvarez goal, Pochettino claimed, should have been disallowed due to an offside play. Montez was blocking Richards from defending, he argued. The rules are clear, but tonight we suffered. Now here's the question that sparks debate. Is it fair to second-guess referees' interpretations of handball and offside? Or is Pochettino simply highlighting a recurring issue in soccer's gray areas? Could the U.S. have claimed a historic win over their fiercest rivals if the calls had gone their way? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you side with Pochettino? Or do you think the officials got it right? The match was far more than a missed trophy for the U.S. It was a mirror reflecting the challenges of building a consistent top-tier team. Pochettino acknowledged the pain of defeat, but stressed the importance of moving forward. The most important thing is to keep our heads up, he said. This is the journey we want to build toward the World Cup. With the tournament set to span the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, the stakes will only grow higher. For now, though, the U.S. fans are left wondering, what if the handball had been called? What if the offside was disallowed? And what if the referee had seen the game the way Pochettino did? Martin Rogers, head of U.S. soccer for The Athletic, has chronicled these stories with precision. A seasoned journalist with a career spanning 8 World Cups, Olympic Games, and Super Bowls, Rogers brings a wealth of perspective to the U.S. soccer landscape. His work, previously featured in Fox Sports, USA Today, and Yahoo Sports, continues to shape the narrative around American football, both on and off the pitch. 2. U.S. soccer team silver lining. Hope emerges for World Cup despite regional loss. The U.S. men's national team faces a crucial crossroads, a loss that could spark a new era. But here's where it gets controversial. Mexico's emphatic 2-1 victory over the U.S. in the CONCACAF Gold Cup final didn't just secure their 2nd consecutive title, it also forced a reckoning for the Americans. In Houston's NRG Stadium, the Mexican squad, now holding the trophy alongside their First Nations League title, proved they were still the dominant force in the region, even after a year of setbacks. The match was more than just a rivalry clash. It was a turning point. For the U.S., the loss came after a disastrous Nations League campaign and 2 humiliating defeats to Turkey and Switzerland. Key players like Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, and Anthony Robinson were sidelined, leaving the team in disarray. Yet, in the face of adversity, the U.S. rediscovered a fighting spirit that had been missing for over a year. "When you lose a trophy, it's really painful," said coach Mauricio Pochettino, who criticized questionable refereeing decisions. "But the most important thing is to have our head up." His words echoed the team's transformation. A group that, despite lacking star power, fought with determination and found unexpected talent in players like Malik Tillman and Diego Luna. This isn't just about the final. It's about the journey. The U.S. team, often seen as a backup squad, delivered a performance that surprised even their own fans. They outplayed Mexico in parts, but the Mexicans' control and clinical finishing sealed the win. Yet, the Americans' resilience was undeniable. They proved they could compete at the highest level even without their usual stars. The roster watch is now more important than ever. Pochettino has shown he's willing to take risks, starting Matt Freese over veteran Matt Turner, and trusting young MLS players like Diego Luna. This approach has paid off, with players like Sebastian Berhalter and Freese emerging as key contributors. But the team still needs the experience of Robinson, Dest, and Pulisic to reach its full potential. Pochettino's refusal to rush back into the old guard has sparked debate. When asked how he'd reintegrate players like Pulisic, he joked, "Or you asked artificial intelligence to do the roster for next time?" This suggests a shift toward building a new identity, one that may not rely on past glories. The controversy lies in whether this team is a fluke or a sign of change. The U.S. has a history of relying on superstar talent, but this squad has shown it can thrive with grit and adaptability. The question remains, can they translate this intensity into the World Cup? The answer may lie in the next few months, as the team balances between rebuilding and reclaiming its legacy. What do you think? Is this the start of a new era for the U.S. men's national team? Or just a temporary reprieve? Share your thoughts in the comments below.